Hey guys, how you doing today? First things first, right? The beard is gone. Yeah, please feel free to comment on that. Send it around. Ring the bells, let everybody know. Yep, the beard is gone. It'll come back. Just give it a couple of days. You wait. I'm so sick and tired of talking about Palestine. I really am. Like it's putting a knife in my heart every single time I open up my computer and every single time I do some research, every single time I take a look. The amount of disappointment I have in our leaders, the amount of disappointment I have in the Liberal Party who is selling weapons to the Israelis, right? The amount of disappointment I have in Joe Biden, who is saying absolutely ridiculous things like Israelis have the right to defend themselves. It's not a defense, what they're doing, right? They're exterminating the people of Gaza. They're exterminating people in that region. They're committing mass war crimes. It's a genocide, right? To call it anything else, I think, is just completely childish. And it's like opening up a portal to hell every single time I open up my computer and I take a look at it. Because I know fundamentally this is exactly how they're going to treat us, right? That this is just a training exercise for how they're going to treat us, right? As they continue to abandon us, as they continue to cut us off, right? That the capitalist death cult is absolutely going to sacrifice us the way that they're sacrificing the Palestinians. Why do we think we're safe? Why do we think that we're looking at this situation, we're looking at the decimation, we're looking at the destruction of the Palestinian people, and we think we're protected from that? Why? For what reason, right? I don't trust the Trudeau liberals, I don't trust the Democrats, I don't trust any of these guys, right? They're perpetuating a genocide in Palestine, a genocide in Yemen. The Trudeau government is literally assaulting First Nations on their own land, unceded land, no less, currently. And I'm supposed to stand here and believe that as the economic system of capitalism and of the capitalist death cult collapses, that they're going to take any time at all to help the poor, right? They've already abandoned the disabled. They've already abandoned the homeless, right? What makes you think you're safe? And so when I take a look at this Palestinian crisis, this genocide that's going on, when I take a look at those Palestinians, when I take a look at that 10-year-old girl, that viral video that went around and showed everybody a 10-year-old girl crying her head off because she's absolutely helpless in the face of jet bombers flying overhead and dropping bombs on her neighborhood that we sell. Might as well put a maple leaf, stamp it on the bombs that are dropping there. When I see that, I don't see some foreign girl. I don't see some foreigner in a distant land. I see my neighbor. I see somebody who lives just across the way from me. I see somebody who lives in my community. I see somebody who lives in my city. I see somebody who might as well just live right down the way. And I'm being told that, oh, it's a conflict with two sides. That's exactly what they're going to say when they start dropping bombs on us. Just how there's an encampment of people, of homeless people who have been afflicted because of what's going on with COVID, right? And they've gathered in an abandoned stadium, right? Just down here in Toronto. Now, what are the police planning to do? They're planning to clear it out, right? They're planning to clear it out. They're not planning to house these people. They're not planning to provide food for these people. They're not planning to provide resources to these people, shelter for these people. They're planning on clearing them out of that stadium. Tell them to fuck off. That's what they're planning on doing. And that's what's going to happen. If you're one of these people who dump out of these videos around now, please like, please share, please subscribe. We need leftist voices to remind everybody, to remind every single person that the plan that they have for Palestine, which is the ethnic cleansing of that region, right? Which is to just clear it out, make sure that it's all the resources are there for the wealthy people who want them, right? That's exactly what they're going to do to us. That we're not looking at a foreign crisis. We're not looking at our leadership dealing with an unfortunate situation. We're looking at a perpetual, generational, ongoing oppression of the poor by the wealthy. And that's something that has no borders, right? It has no borders. Like, we were sold on this idea of a globalized world. Well, the world is globalized. The wealthy are globalized, right? They don't live in any nation, right? They live in Richistan. They don't live by the rules of any nation. They constantly remind us, right? Oh, if you raise taxes here, I'll just move my money somewhere else and abandon you, right? They say it to our faces how they are going to abandon us. They tell us every single day that their plan is to abandon us. And they are absolutely going to abandon us. And then if we manage to gather enough people in one spot to be an inconvenience to them, well, then they'll send in the thugs or they'll drop bombs on us with fighter jets. How do I know that's the truth? Because it's what they're doing in Palestine. It's what they're doing in Yemen. It's what they're doing on unceded First Nations land. They're doing it right in front of our faces, and we vote for it. That's the thing that gets really baffling to me. And we vote for it. At this stage in the game, I feel like we should be voting for a paper bag, right? At this stage in the game, like, we can say explicitly and outright that we are just a bunch of gullible rubes who are just throwing our chips in with any swindler and con man who comes along and spins literally any yarn whatsoever, right? Like, look how gullible we've been. We've believed enormous, ridiculous lies like reefer madness, McCarthyism, right? The WMD lie, right? Is there any lie we won't swallow? Like, if you believe that the big lie that Israel has the right to defend itself, well, yeah, there's nothing you won't believe, right? You're a gullible rube. I wish we'd stop. I wish we'd stop being gullible rubes, you know? I wish that we would actually stop and realize that we are on this trajectory. We are on this trajectory to become abandoned, like the people of Palestine have been abandoned. That when we are looking at the people of Palestine, we are looking at our own futures. That is the future that the capitalist death cult has planned for us. And it's right in front of us. They're not being secretive about it. They are being overt about it. They are saying it to our faces that their plan is to abandon us. And then if we dare stand up and demand better for ourselves and our children and our family, they'll say, we have the right to defend ourselves, and then drop bombs on us. I wish we were better. That's really what it comes down to, you know. This weekend has been a big depression spell for me. And it is because I just wish that we were better. I wish that when this whole thing began, our leadership jumped up and decried it for the atrocity that it actually is, instead of just calling for a de-escalation in like the most soft-spoken language possible, while simultaneously voting down a bill declaring for a ceasefire. The liberals are fine to wring their hands, shuffle their feet, mouth the platitudes that they know their base wants them to hear. But when it comes time to actually stand up and voice dissenting action against a genocide that they are selling weapons to, nah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And we support it. We vote for them, right? Justin Trudeau is enjoying upwards of 40% popular support while supporting the genocide of the Palestinian people and the Yemeni people. I just don't know what else to say. I mean, I am to a point where I think if you are voting conservative and liberal, there's something mentally wrong with you. Because you are voting for your own destruction. They're being very overt and obvious about it. They're saying to your face, this is what we'll do to you. And they will. Because they're power-mad sociopaths. They're part of a death cult that's designed itself to destroy you and collapse the system you rely on. Every single day, what do? You wake up, you go to work for people you barely tolerate or you don't even know, right? You sell your entire life so that you can buy food and pay rent. Things that should be built into the system. Any rational, sane system would build in food and shelter for its citizens. But instead of that, what do? You have to sell yourself to people you don't know, you've never met, who don't live in your neighborhood even, who don't live in your communities, right? And do you get the lion's share of your own labor? No. No, certainly not. Certainly not. And we've all played that game of Monopoly, right? We've all played the game of Monopoly. We know what it looks like. We know what happens. There's less and less players at the top, right? Jeff Bezos eats smaller fish, right? Bill Gates eats smaller fish. The big fish eat the small fish until finally there's only the one big fish left. And then what happens at the game of Monopoly? Well, the game ends. You put all the money back in the box, the game is over, it ends. Only when it happens in the real world, the game doesn't end. You just wake up and find yourself in cities that are decayed, societies that are completely fragmented, selling yourself to who might as well be feudal kings, as this neo-feudal system erects around you. And if you manage to actually gather enough supporters around you, gather enough disgruntled serfs and peasants, these guys will bomb you, right? They've done it to us before when we were unionizing, right? When we were first unionizing, the first aerial bombardment on American soil happens by a company bombing unionizing workers. They've done it to us before. They'll do it to us again. The Palestinian genocide and the Yemeni genocide are a dress rehearsal. And if you don't believe me, then really start to ask yourself, why is it that the Israeli Defense Forces are the ones that are training American police? Why is it that the Israeli Defense Forces are the ones that are coming in and training our police officers? What do you think they're training for? Dark days ahead. Dark days ahead, and I'm going to be commenting every step of the way. Please be sure to like, please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to send it around. Please be sure to lend a comment. We need voices like mine in the dialogue, commenting honestly about what they see as our society and as our empire declines. At the very least, right, you need the kooky communist. You don't have a kooky communist in your feed. Hello. Under the circumstances, guys, you are doing wonderfully. You're fighting for yourself. You're fighting for the people you love. You're making good decisions in the face of capitalists who do everything they can to destroy your self-esteem, to propagandize you, and to convince you that you are something other than what you are, which is a divine being, living in divine energy. We could use some right now. Good luck. We're gonna need it.